Hello everybody and welcome to the Competition Suspension Paved Sprint Series presented by Pivotal Propane here on the global SimRacing channel. Round 3 of the 5-week season takes us today to a defunct track now in the real world that lives on and used quite often, in fact, in iRacing USA International, closed in 2008, but its legacy remains. And you'll see all the action tonight right here on GSRC. Thanks to Sean Ambrose behind the scene, the director's chair for this one, using cameras designed by Dougie Beard, with commentary tonight for this one, myself, Ryan Jones, and Gary Weaver alongside me. Why don't we take a little bit of a close look at this USA circuit with our GSRC track guide.
Welcome to Lakeland, Florida. While the actual USA International Speedway is no longer with us in the real world, the track had a distinguished history, albeit short. The modern track we know of opened in 1995. The track saw its final race in 2008 before being torn down in 2012. In those 13 years, though, many regional series across the southeast U.S. and a few national series made stops. ARCA, ASA Late Models, NASCAR Southeast, and Cars Pro Cup all made visits here. The 3/4 mile long track features long straightaways and tighter corners, but those tighter corners are banked at 14 degrees, so you can build up quite a bit of speed here. This is part of the reason this track, the other being proximity to Daytona, was a popular spot for NASCAR Cup, Grand National, and truck teams to make testing stops here before NASCAR's ban on testing. While today a warehouse may encompass parts of where the track used to be, it's forever saved in the virtual world here on iRacing, so strap in for what's sure to be a wild race at USA International Speedway.
A look overhead at USA International Speedway. Gary, these cars, we've seen the first 2 weeks, they're tough to drive, and this track ain't going to make it any easier.
Yeah, this track here in USA International Speedway, it is absolutely, it's a challenge, that's for sure. 14-degree bank turns situated in Lakeland, Florida at 0.75 miles, so 3/4 of a mile, or 1.21 kilometers. And, well, this track and putting down the power here is going to be something that we've really seen drivers kind of struggling with, really, is the fact that, well, these cars can hold a lot of horsepower, they hold a lot of power down in those rear tires, and well, you throttle it too early, and next thing you know, you're going to be around.
Yeah, you certainly are. And in terms of how things are shaping up for some of these drivers after our first 2 rounds, we have a pretty close fight between most of our drivers that have been pretty quick all season long, like the Crumbs and guys like those. But in terms of our race details, you can see there, going to be using our heats as we do. Top 12 qualifiers will go straight through into the A main, fixed setup, and then the top 2 from each heat will go through to the A main as well, leaving us with a 16-car field for the feature event. The qualifying action is underway as well at the moment, or just about to get underway, I should say, in a couple minutes' time here. Looking at the practice times, Gary, anyone standing out to you?
Looking at those times, like you mentioned, Trey Osborne in the top standings for the time being, at least the top of the board, with a 18.605. He's currently sitting in pit row, as you can see, and he's only 0.015 seconds off, or rather 0.015 seconds ahead of Robert Rice, Garrett Andrews as well. Chance Crum, a notable name, in the 4th place position. Justin Brester got half punted down the back straightaway a little bit earlier on, unfortunately, in practice, but managed to get one of the many backups I'm sure that these drivers have. So for the time being, Osborne being someone to really keep an eye on, but pretty much the entire top 3, they're all within the 18.6 second range.
Yeah, nice to see a very close field. I mean, your top 12 coming by just a couple tenths of a second. Remember, these cars have got more horsepower than the NASCAR Cup cars, so despite their miniature size, they do pack an absolute punch as well, which does make some pretty interesting action out there as he right on board with Chance as he dives it down into turns 1 and 2. You see the yellow line there. You can use the apron here. It'll unsettle the car a bit, but you see every now and then a driver dips down there to try and find some extra speed. See Crum just holds it right above that yellow line through the corner. Up to about 145 miles per hour, where he dips it back down and gets down to below 100. Struggling on the exit, Gary.
And this track here is really well known for being used in the iRacing Street Stock Series, the Rookie Street Stock Series, as well in rotation with the Charlotte Oval. But I'm pretty sure at least, well, pretty much every single user must have come into contact with this track at least once, depending on, you know, if, well, unfortunately for Lipasek, well, came in contact with the wrong side of the, at least stuck the landing though, which is good. But at least most of these users on iRacing have come in contact with this track, so they know that the street stocks here come to about 100, 110 maybe, if they're lucky enough, miles per hour down the back straight, but at most 90 to 100 miles per hour.
Most certainly. So, 5 minutes of qualifying. Top 12 go through to the feature event. Going to be crucial to nail this lap. That's Canon Posey. What can he do in the number 1 car as he comes across the line and begins his first attempt? Rides it through 1 and 2, about half a lane or quarter of a lane up above the bottom of the racetrack. And through 3 and 4, dives it right down to the other line. Actually clips the apron a bit. Don't think it's a great run for him this first time around. It's a 20.096. Would put him fastest, but it's not a good lap. As immediately Justin Bresta with an 18.8 goes to the top.
And Garrett Andrews with a second place time. Trey Osborne now taking over the top spot for the time being, as we take a look at Chase Randall, Robert Rice just coming out the corner. A little bit of a bobble you can see.
Trevor Reed, a 19.372. That puts him just on the fringes of the top 10. Ryan Shalkuski, 19.654. That's going to put him back in 11th place. Robert Rice improves with an 18.737, stays 3rd. Kenan Posey still struggling a bit, back in 12th.
Unfortunately, he will, I believe, call it early in his run. Actually, he is complete with his run, and like you mentioned, definitely struggling. A 19.604, unfortunately, and not much as struggling as whoever just had flipped over the pit wall there at the time. So it looked to be it was Rice. So unfortunately, also Trevor Reed, and well, it looks like it's just now starting to appear that the drivers really starting to push the car off the corners, are starting to break the grip from those rear tires.
Tracy Lepazic, an 18.702, goes up to 2nd place with that effort. Not bad. Tyler Conley back in 17th and looking to find a much needed improvement and pop himself up inside the top 12. 19.407, not going to be enough. Joey Brewer left wanting as well.
So taking a look through, it looks to be Austin Nye in the 97, I believe. The only driver to yet put in a lap time, as he will start his first qualifying round for the time being, as we take a look at Chance Crum as well, currently sitting in 7th, and again, top 12 will automatically advance into the A main. So Chance Crum really does have much of a buffer, as he now went to 3rd place in the timing charts.
Austin Nye hasn't got a lap time down yet. Now he does. It's good enough for 15th place, just on the outside of those top 12 advancing positions. Can 97 find an improvement here on lap number 2? Down through turn 4. Glues nicely the yellow line. This could be a good lap for Nye. And it's not, unfortunately. 2/10 off.
He does have one more chance, as we take a look at Colton Collins, another driver has yet to put in, or who has yet to put in a lap time up until now. Sitting in 22nd for the time being, and that's unfortunately probably why, losing a little bit of grip off of turn number 2, using the apron as much as possible, as Austin Nye will not advance his lap time by, actually he does get into the top 12, into 6th place, as Collins unfortunately breaks grip on corner entry into turn 1.
We've still got a minute left in qualifying, but most drivers have set their lap times. And I do believe we're probably only going to have one heat race as well for this one. And, of course, thank you to our sponsor, PitLogic, who are giving away fast time award and a hard charger award, and they are the most comprehensive chassis and shock setup application on the market. So using expertise to provide some prizes for these drivers throughout the course of the season. But as I said, we're only going to get one heat race in here. And you can see the qualifying details there that were brought to you by Racing Buzz. Chalk sticks. They had 3 laps, and for many of them it wasn't enough because they missed out on those top 12 advancing positions. They're going to have to fight through the one and only heat race here at USA, which should be brought to you by KT's steering service. Kevin Thomas Racing Services rebuilds, repairs, and Dyno's power steering, gears, and pumps for the midget sprint car and Silver Crown markets. And they're telling you it's a 15-lap race. Top 2 advance, should be top 4. No yellow flags.
It's going to be 2 pace laps, 11 drivers, and it's going to be all 11 fighting for at least 4 spots now, as Heat 2 has been skipped.
Indeed it has, and lineup is on the left-hand side of your screen. Dominic Carter will lead us to the green with Matt Roberts on his outside. Barrett Polhemus and Trevor Reed occupy row number 2. Tyler Conley and Adam Kading need to find an improvement. They're starting 5th and 6th. Colton Collins and Landry Dinnan starting 7th and 8th. Kenan Posey, Justin Brewer, your top 10. Joshua Kunstbeck starting from 11th. Only 15 laps. Short and sharp dash for these guys to finalize your A main field here at USA International. We'll have one more lap under the pace car, then we'll go racing.
It's looking at these drivers that are weaving the tires or back and forth, I should say, trying to do their best to warm them up. I can understand it after Iowa, where mistakes, of course, do happen. At least one person, unfortunately, did weave a bit too hard and lost control, so it is good to at least give a lot of space when doing that, just to be sure that you don't accidentally run into somebody.
The dangers of cold tires are ever present in iRacing, and these drivers trying to do their best to overcome them. As the pace trucks get on out of the way, and we'll go racing from USA International Speedway as a green flag drops over the field. And a good start for Matt Roberts. He'll lead them down to the turn 1 from the outside of the front row. And behind, Trevor Reed almost had a good start on the outside too, but Barrett Polhemus will take that 3rd place back away.
And moving for the lead, at least he did. It was Dominic Carter. He lost the lead, unfortunately, but he will manage to just hang on to at least the podium spot for the time being. He does have Barrett Polhemus, though, directly behind him under fire. Trevor Reed goes way up the racetrack in turn 1.
These top 3 are really close at the moment. Adam Kading's in a bit of clean air at the moment.
Oh, Reed goes around.
Reed from 5th place spins it. And the number 7 car down that front straight. He drops to the back of the field. This is a replay of what happened to him from 5th spot. What did happen to him? Just lost it. He lost it very late on in the piece there, coming off the corner. But that's race done, day done for him.
And top 4 absolutely all under a blanket for the time being. Dominic Carter is just biting at the back gearbox, I guess I should say, or bumper, or what have you, of Barrett Polhemus, trying to get back up into 1st place. It's not working for the time being, as Polhemus is absolutely on a mad charge for Roberts. There he goes to the inside looking for the lead, but backs out.
If these guys just stay how they are, they'll make it through to your feature event. Top 4 advancing from this. As you ride on board with Matt Roberts as he runs a bit wide through turn 2 that time and offers up the inside for Polhemus, who doesn't take it, but he's looking And look out for Carter now, looking way up top and going too high. Opens the door for Adam Kading down on the bottom side of the racetrack. He can't carry that momentum enough to make that one stick. Carter struggling now. He's missing the bottom of these corners.
I think Carter's a bit too focused on, ooh, as Paul Hemus, I believe, got a little bit loose.
Oh no, there's a crash
Behemoth.
between him. Dominic Carter goes up and over, landed on all four wheels. He went around with Paul Hemus through turn number 2. And the replay will come to you here.
Oh.
And he was avoiding the lapped car and just spun down low and through turn 1. Carter just into his left rear, turns him around and up into the fence he goes. So that leaves Matt Roberts with a 2-second margin back to Adam Kading, Colton Collins, and Kenan Posey now your top 4 advancing.
Right now, Matt Roberts has a great deal of space, as Dominic Carter is at this point, not able to continue, unfortunately. He is out of this race for the time being, and probably pretty much for the entire rest of the race. As the distance between 4th and 5th place, well, Kenan Posey, let's say this, has a very decent gap, actually, about a quarter of a track length, as Posey's just now crossing the start-finish line. The person directly behind him, Brewer, just barely entered turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, 14-second margin on a 19-second racetrack is nothing to be sneezed at after just over 10 laps of racing. Pretty impressive. 4 laps to go for Roberts to keep it all squeaky clean at the front of the field on that midget-looking race car, that sprint car that is underutilized in iRacing, not used that often, but good to see it being used here in the CSI Shocks Paved Sprint Series. Thanks to Pivotal Propane, of course, for coming on board as title sponsor for this one.
And right now, as we ride on board, you can see how much Matt Roberts is turning that wheel, having to fight it just a little bit off turn number 4 there that time, just to hang on to it. But with 2 laps to go, I think Roberts is actually he's actually arcing the corner a little bit, kind of dominating the corner as well, trying to just keep that momentum and keep that car under control. He's got this for now.
He comes out of turn 4. He sees the white flag up on the flag stand thanks to Barney, the flagman, and 1 to go in the heat race here at USA International Speedway. As smooth as he likes, the gap's come down to the car behind, but it's not going to be much of a gap to be worried about because it's just under a second. But he's coming out of turn number 4, and Matt Roberts will take the checkered flag on your heat race here in round 3 of the season. Keating, Collins, and Posey will be your 4 drivers advancing through to the feature.
Oh, that was a race and a half. Well, it's a little bit of a preview as well for what we'd have to really look out for. Maybe these drivers could also use this first heat as well as, or maybe those drivers for sure use that heat as essentially extra practice time, but they do have, at least the ones that did advance, about 5 minutes here in this warm-up.
Indeed they do, to try and get themselves ready, and we'll have a 16-car field for your feature race, which in length will be 40 laps around this track, time limited to 40 minutes, but going to take quite some effort to get to 40 minutes, and this one should be wrapped up well before then. Here are your A main details, thanks to Pivotal Propane. There you can see 40 laps. Yellow flags are on, so if someone spins, chances are we get a caution to stack them up and let them loose in a big pack once again. What's this warm-up all about, though, here, Gary? What are these drivers doing at the moment?
Well, at this point, it's more practicing just how to race the track rather than everyone around them. But also, it could also be used as a sense to really learn how some of these other drivers will race around other cars and really what to expect. It's a chance also to use a few tactics that could be or could not be used in the race. You could use this 5 minutes for essentially a lot. Sure, there is the 20-minute initial practice, but Now you know who you're racing with in the 5 minutes, and you have to use those 5 minutes to utilize, okay, well, here's what I can and can't do, as Trey Osborne, I think, just went full bore straight through. He knows he can go right through, essentially in avoiding wreck or a car that's sliding down to the inside. Of course, everyone would know that, but knows what moves you can do, how much braking distance you can have as well in the corner, what different line has a different braking point. It's a whole host of things, really, that these 5 minutes can be used for.
On board with Ryan Shulkowski as he goes through the preparations that he has in his mind for the feature. He'll be rolling off of P12 for that one. He was the last driver to sneak through in qualifying. You can see how much he's struggling, enough so that he slaps the fence. The car almost tips over. He goes for a spin top ride and comes to a rest down on turn 1.
Taking a look at Hunter Crum for the time being as he makes his way around USA Speedway. Down the back straightaway, at least that opening in the back straightaway wall does not jut out as Garrett Andrews goes around, almost flips over, but manages to hang on to it with some great steering control. I'm not sure if he actually turned the other direction, but you have very little time to turn that wheel back into a direction where the car does not end up flipping over.
Two minutes left in the warm-up in the Competition Suspension Incorporated Paved Sprint Series in the global SimRacing channel. In terms of the drivers that advanced from the heat, they'll be lining up off the back of the grid for this one. So Roberts, Kading, Collins, Posey from 13th, 14th, 15th and 16th. So they'll have their work cut out for them when they go racing. They'll have to try to avoid the drama if they want to get to the front and have a chance at winning this race. And they'll have to fight against some of the fastest drivers of the night, like Osborne, Lepazic and Chance Crum, who are fastest, your top 3, coming out of qualifying. Plenty of stories to come in this main event. And then moving forward after this race, we've got 2 more races in the season. Over the next 2 weeks, which will bring us to 2 more racetracks here in the USA, 2 more short tracks to round off our season. We head to Richmond next time out, and then to finish it off, we head to Irwindale.
Right now, just looking around and just seeing what things are to come for this A main. So we're just riding on board, seeing how drivers are faring with these 5 minutes. Time is slowly but surely ticking down.
The time ticks down, and the nerves ramp up for the drivers out there. Many real drivers have told us that they get more nervous for a race on iRacing than they do for their events in the real world. Maybe it's a lack of adrenaline. Maybe it's a lack of control over so many more parts. When you're here on iRacing, you're relying on a lot of technology that hasn't been tested and proved by a multi-million-dollar race team. But either way, these iRacing events, just as nerve-wracking as the real thing. And this is how they'll line up for this 16-car feature event here at USA International. Off the pole, Trey Osborne and Tracy Lepazic starts alongside Chance Crum and Robert Rice, lining up off row number 2. Zachary Bazanich and Austin Nye occupy the 3rd row of the grid ahead of Justin Brester and Hunter Crum, 7th and 8th. Top 10 rounded up by Garrett Andrews and Mason Hannigan.
Chase Randall starts off in 11th, with 12th place being Ryan Shulkowski to his outside, or to Randall's outside rather. Matt Roberts starts off in 13th. 14th place is going to be Adam Kading. 15th place is going to be Colton Collins, and then 16th place is rounded out by Kanan Posey.
We'll have 2 laps to get themselves warmed up under the pace truck here, under the lights. Look out for Bazanich. He's requesting an ELL, which is an end of line. for this start. His net is acting up, he says, and that's one of those uncontrollable factors I mentioned that drivers are going to be worried about. Your internet can make a big difference in winning or losing some of these races, and he's apprehensive about how his is going to hold up and doesn't want to be lighting up off of 5th place, but he might not have a choice the way things are looking.
You'll have to wait and see for the time being, at least, on what they'll do. Hopefully they do, but at least it's a little bit of an honor system, really, because not many people do that, so it's really good to see some sportsmanship and not wanting to risk ruining others' races so early on.
All right, lights out on the pace car, although they were out from the start here. The lights are permanently out on the pace truck when you start the event, which is mildly annoying from a commentator's perspective when you're trying to figure out if there's 1 or 2 laps to go when you roll off. But either way, we are going green this time as there's contact. They're both forming up the tyres on the second row of the grid. And Chance Crumb and Robert Rice both weave to the same point on the track and came into side-by-side contact. No damage done, they'll continue. But either way, they want to avoid that when we go back green as Trey Osborne goes early and gets a massive jump to take us to the green flag.
And it's a big crash in the back involving Chase Randall and Garrett Andrews. They managed to get back going. Somehow it was so quick that the caution did not come out, so that's how fast these drivers are going as they single file themselves out up front, and Randall as well as Andrews managed to get back going.
So it's Trey Osborne that leads Tracy Lepazic, Chance Crumb, Zachary Bazanich, and Robert Rice, your top 5. Rice under a lot of pressure from Austin Nye and Justin Brester in behind him as he runs up the track through turn 4. That's going to open up the inside door nicely for Nye, and he slides on by and takes away 5th spot as the caution does come out for an incident further back in the pack.
Oh, 2 more collected, 3 more collected. Collins, Kading, as well as Roberts involved in the aftermath.
I'll look at your replay here. There's Roberts, who won the heat race at start back at the pack. And the drama of being back in the pack.
The driver that initially spun around was Randall, so should be coming out momentarily.
Down at the turn 1. He goes in deep, washes up high, has to avoid Randall, but as he lost control, he got hit by it from behind. And really unfortunate. Randall lost it down the straight. Coming back live then. Under the lights that shine yellow on top of that pace truck. Should go back green next time by. We'll get the 1 to go signal at the very least, I should say. Top 5 remains pretty much unchanged from the start. Biggest loser being Robert Rice, who went from 4th back to 9th off the start of this one. Kenan Posey's come up from 16th to 11th, though, off the first couple laps, so good start for that number 1 car.
So far, so good, as it looks like it should be 2 to go this time around, unfortunately, and then 1 to green next time. It's a little bit more waiting, as it's essentially getting virtually cleaned up for the time being, and this could help out some drivers to make any repairs if needed.
Remember, plenty more action on the Global Sim Racing channel each and every day. The rest of this evening brings 2 more broadcasts on our YouTube channel, the Global Sim Racing channel. You can catch the Precision Racing League Truck Series at 10 to 9 Eastern Time. And then the Lionheart Indy Car Series, one of our favorite series, one of many people's favorite series, that starts at 10:50 Eastern Time over on the iRacing eSports Network. Make sure you like us on social media to stay up to date with all our action, as well as subscribe to us on YouTube to catch it all live here on the Red Brand.
I think surprisingly to everybody, lights on the pace track are still active, so it's a little bit longer than anticipated yellow flag period for the time being, and I'm pretty sure even the drivers are maybe a little bit slightly confused at why it's a little bit more extended than usual. But for Trey Osborne, though, he had a great start initially when the pace truck had pulled off. You just have to be careful because I believe in the series that if you go too early, then it would be a penalty after the restart. So we'll see how it's handled regardless, as lights finally managed to go out around the track and on the pace truck. Trey Osborne back in control.
Whatever you do, you can't beat the pace car back to pit road. That's a general rule, and as long as you avoid that, you're good to go. Alright, half a lap to green. Let's get this one back underway. We'll be restarting onto lap 9 of 40. And Trey Osborne leading us to the green once again. Can he get a good a jump as he did on the first start of the day? You bet he can. He leads us back to the green to flag. And Chance Crum trying to take it away from Lepazic for second place. Lepazic throws it down across his nose, down into turn 1.
And it's going to be Crum just hanging on to it after he gets loose, and it's a crash in the back, unfortunately. It was Ryan Chilkowski on his side after that one.
So the caution flies before we complete a lap. And we'll show you the replay here. Down on the apron, that doesn't work very often. And as he rejoined, the car unsettled and into the fence and up and over the fence he went for a second there. Lands it on his side.
Justin Brester almost... Yeah, he almost had. Justin Brester almost had that exact same trip. He managed to hang on to it off turn number 2 that time, so he luckily was not directly involved into that as, maybe a bit too fast trying to catch up to the field. It was Matt Roberts, unfortunately. Actually, no, it's just an accordion, in fact, actually, I should say, just really unexpected. Luckily, no major damage by the looks of it between himself or anyone. He just avoided contact, but he is going into pit road just to be safe. For the time being, I'm wondering if Lepazic is about to get a little bit of the pattern down on the starts that Trey Osborne is starting to use on these restarts.
Yeah, wouldn't be surprised to see if he can judge it nicely here. Maybe go when Osborne goes, preempt his start, because he's gone very early both times. Maybe Osborne will change it up for attempt number 3. Lights remain firmly aglow on top of the pace truck. Chance Crum had a good restart from 3rd. And he was definitely right to the inside of Lepazic, but Lepazic was bold. He went in deep into turn 1 and just threw it down across the front bumper of Crum. Very lucky it didn't come into contact, but good decisive move to hold on to that P2 spot.
Yeah, Chance Crum just hung on to it off turn number 2. He's not the only one, of course, to have troubles off of turn number 2, so luckily he's not the only one, but unfortunately, though, it was almost enough to cost him his race and the podium spot, but he did manage to save it for the time being when he was on the inside of Lepazic, so if he's going to be starting behind Osborne, I mean, Chance Crum also may be starting to see a little bit of the start pattern that Osborne is starting to use, which should be 2 to go this time by before you go back green, which of course is, as a leader, something you really want to keep in mind. Your restart pattern is you have to change it up at some point. If you start to go the same way, everyone might start to catch on, and next thing you know, you're putting yourself into a little bit of jeopardy for when those drivers are expecting you to go. So you have to catch them off guard every once in a while.
Someone that won't be catching on is our sole retirement from the feature, Chase Randall. Unfortunately, won't be taking any further place in this evening's proceedings. Ryan Chilkowski and Adam Kading both still on the racetrack after being 2 laps down thanks to prior incidents, so they're sticking it out, hoping for the best. As we watch the pace truck, the lights go out, And they do. We'll go back green into this time by.
Trey Osborne giving that pace truck a lot of space for the time being, making sure that will, of course, leave the racetrack and start to get a little bit of that advantage on that main start. So Lepasic trying to hang back a little bit, trying to keep Osborne in that line of sight for this restart.
Starting from second can often be actually quite difficult because it is difficult to see the guy down the bottom side of the track. As Osborne goes, and Lepasic did not judge it at all. Another big gap for him, and once again, Chance Crum challenging, taking it away this time down into turn number 1. Lepasic will slot into third ahead of Bozanic and Austin Nye, as Hannigan holds on to 6th ahead of Hunter Crum.
And right now, Chance Crum absolutely about to set sail. He is pulling the gap away. A little bit of a bobble off turn 4, hangs onto it. As Zachary Bozanic is about to close into that third place position, as well as a whole host of cars behind. Side by side, about position 9 for the time being. Robert Rice almost made it 3 wide off turn number 2. He backs out.
Garrett Andrews and Kenan Posey are duking it out here for 8th place and make a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact coming out of the corner just behind these guys on the track. Posey will take it away and puts himself up into 8th place now. They're still battling though, you can see just the back of your shot.
Just trying to hang on to it for the time being as we see that battle. There it is, Robert Rice on the inside of number 10. Oh, as Andrews, or the inside of number 11, I should say, as Andrews got loosened up. He hangs on to it, luckily. Absolutely drifting through turns 1 and 2. And Posey will try a crossover on Robert Rice and contact as they wreck off turn number 4.
And Rice goes for one heck of a ride up in turn 4, sent skyward and came crashing down. Went for a dive down in turn 3, struggled to pull it up, and Posey went for the crossover move. Got to his inside, and then they just came together, and they both shot up into the fence on the outside of the racetrack. If you have motion sickness, it's away now.
Oh. Imagine that, but in VR. Well, Kenan Posey is also out, unfortunately, as well. Well, for at least for the time being, Robert Rice officially has retired. Kenan Posey, unless he wants to wait the estimated 35 minutes for engine repairs, he's going to be at least pretty much guaranteed out of this race.
Look at the smoke up in turn 4, or turn 2 even. Well, it was there in the last shot we saw anyway. So that's taken us past halfway in this run. This one, I should say. And that means when we restart, it'll be about 18, 17 laps to go. There's a wave around for someone there. Going to be interesting to see what Chance Crum can do from second place now.
Chance Crum did have a great run initially on the last restart that we had. So if he can keep that momentum up and just time the restart right, he knows when Trey Osborne is going. But like you mentioned, it is very difficult to judge when somebody to your outside, or to your inside rather, is going, or even your outside, depending on if leader does have lane choice. You really can't look beside you. It depends on what you're using, either single monitor, triple, or even a VR setup. If you're VR, well, I mean, you're pretty much lucky. If you're triple, it depends. But single, well, you hopefully have to have a bit of a wide angle to see the driver just beside you. But even then, it takes the reaction time from when the leader goes to when your foot goes all the way down on that gas pedal to get going as soon as the leader does.
Atop the pace car, those yellow lights should go off this time by. Off in the distance. They did not. Wait, yes they did.
Nope.
Nope.
Apparently for some reason, I guess they'd probably paying the pace truck driver a little bit extra tonight. Could be the reason. But right now, for the time being, lights will remain on. This should be at least the 2 to go signal, so we should be with 1 lap to green the next time by the start-finish line.
And we get the 1 to go signal. Well, we're racing next time by. We'll restart with 16 laps to go here at USA International Speedway for round 3 of the Competition Suspension Incorporated Paved Sprint Series. And Trey Osborne, we're looking for the golden jump for the 4th time of asking this evening. You've got to ask, at some point, does it fail to provide as golden opportunity as it has previously? Well, let's see what a new driver to the outside of him can do. Well, not much it would seem. Another great restart for Osborne. Lepazic takes 2nd place, back away from Crum. Look out for Bazanic down to his inside as well.
I think Chance just got completely caught off guard entirely as just moved to the inside. Is going to be Bazanic. Not sure if they actually had contact. It looked like both of them had broken loose a little bit, but for the time being, he manages to hang on to it for at least 5th place as Lepazic gets loose off turn number 4, hangs onto the inside lane defensive. Crum goes for the crossover. Great job and great bow for 2nd as Osborne pulls away.
Behind them, Hunter Crum is on the outside and just getting by Bazanic now. Although Bazanic is still fighting him, so those two are still duking it out. Very tight pack for 2nd place at the moment, checked up behind Tracy Lepazic. As Chance Crumbs works his magic, trying to find a way by him. Can't quite get it done at the moment. Still side by side between Bazanic and Hunter Crum back there. Oh no, they make contact, and Hunter Crum goes for a slide, but he catches it. He'll lose 2 spots as Mason Hannigan and Garrett Andrews make it 3 spots he loses from that.
It's going to be side by side for at least 2nd place as we ride on board Hunter Crum, and around his battle, Chance Crum gets loose.
Up into the fence. He almost had it, and then it snaps back the other way.
So close yet so far. I believe there was another wreck just up ahead. It was Garrett Andrews, unfortunately, well after Chance's spin, but Garrett Andrews might be out as well. There's Chance Crum. He hangs on to it, but unfortunately Garrett Andrews, not sure what happened. Maybe just trying to avoid someone in front, but just absolutely, on
board with him, you see Chance, and then maybe some sort of technical issue for him. That was very strange indeed, and either way he's out of the race, and someone unfortunately has taken a piece of his car with him back onto yellow.
Trey Osborne with a great run, great restart, but no one else has been able to capitalize between or with Trey Osborne on restarts. And well, during the main runs, after the restarts, we've seen Chance Crum able to get that speed. He was able to clear Lepazic at one point earlier on in this race and start to create a gap between Chance Crum, between himself and Lepazic. But unfortunately, we really won't know if he was able to catch Osborne for the time being, as Crum is now getting repairs in pit road.
A few more retirements of this race, with Canon Posey joining the list with Robert Rice as well. Adam Kading, Matt Roberts still out there on the track, 3 and 2 laps down, along with Shulkuski. Garrett Andrews, I believe, is either towing or has retired. And of course, Chance Crum is down on pit road. Coming out of pit road now, in fact, he'll keep himself on the lead lap. Or at least 1 lap down.
Now, at this point, wondering how many laps will remain when we get back going, at least on the restart. And it's going to be a shootout for sure heading into this final portion of this race.
Nine drivers on the lead lap then. Chance Crum is the final driver to keep himself on the same lap as your race leader, Trey Osborne, who's been golden today. Hasn't made a mistake out at the front of the field. Restarts have been silky smooth for him. And he's looking for another one here as we get the 2 to go signal from flag stand. Which means we'll restart with 6 laps to go. Which means this will be our final restart of the evening.
I'll be surprised if a few of these drivers were maybe a little bit more careful, but also a little bit maybe it's either going to be some drivers being a little bit more careful or a little bit more aggressive in trying to get their positions that they want. It's either one or the other. It's a mix of both, and some of these drivers really want these positions. I'm pretty sure that somebody at least wants to knock Trey Osborne off of that top spot. Well, the lights go out, the drivers go double file, and now it's a matter of Lepasic and Nye timing their restarts to match Osborne.
See how it goes. Lepasic again on the outside. Hasn't liked that spot at all today so far. Osborne's got the better of him every single time so far. Did a better job from third. No chance scrum from third or second this time, but he's back to the rear end of the field. What can Austin Nye do from third? As Osborne pins it, and away we go. Another great restart, and Austin Nye up into second place.
Just managed to get by, and
no! Big dive, and cleans up Nye.
And that's a matter of wondering if we're going to get a one-lap shootout or not, but maybe a little bit too eager on that restart was Lepasic.
A bit too ambitious from Lepasic, I think, down into turn 1. He got up under the grass on the inside as well, and actually got some airtime before he hit Austin Nye, didn't he?
I believe just a little bit. There's Austin Nye, unfortunately, in pit road. More than likely not too happy about what just transpired, but 6 laps to go, at least at the, well, 5 laps to go around there at the time of the caution. 4 laps to go this time, so we might, if, depending on really just the timing of this, we could get a one-lap shootout, but we'll have to wait and see, of course, in the meantime, just on what the iRacing race control decides what to do.
Trey Osborne will be hoping that it stays green, yellow, won't he?
Oh yeah, he's definitely hoping for that as well, especially since, well, his fast lap, interestingly enough, an 18.629 back on lap 17, and he's had some pretty fast laps during the runs that we have had. As fastest was, of course, the 18.6. So he's been up in about the 18.6, 18.7 range for this entire race for the most part, and really just keeping it out there. The restarts being the one thing keeping everyone off guard, essentially.
Well, if we get the 1 to go signal when we hit the line here, we will get a 1-lap dash. If we don't, we will be finishing under the caution lights. So all eyes to the pace truck. The iRacing.com pace truck will tell us whether we're going to get a green or a yellow finish here at USA International Speedway as it comes across the stripe.
They stay on.
Which means your race winner is Trey Osborne of Ohio.
I'm pretty sure Osborne was heavily, intently staring at those lights, just saying and hoping, please don't shut off, please don't shut off. And they didn't. So Trey Osborne, a bit of a lucky break with that 1-lap shootout. Maybe he would have stacked up the field on the restart, but we will really never know. So Osborne can just easily cruise to victory for this win. He just has to make it at least 1 1/4 more laps. White and yellow being waved for Osborne. And all he has to do is just really sit behind the pace truck and drive it to the end.
See Lepazic up there in second. Will come home in second despite struggling on a few of these restarts. And a wild move to get back into that spot off the most recent of those attempts. This is the final lap, and that means your race winner, Austin Nye, shows his displeasure at Lepazic. Gets turned around across his front nose for the second time today. Not sure what good that did, because your race winner will remain Trey Osborne, and Lepazic will still come across in second. Third place, Mason Hannigan, Hunter Crum, Chance Crum. Your top 5, 6, I should say, percentage in there too. We'll go to a break here on the Global SimRacing channel. When we come back, we'll have your results and some interviews here from USA International. Welcome back to the Global SimRacing channel. Our coverage of the CSI Shocks Paved Sprint Series wrapping up after a very comfortable victory in the end for Trey Osborne. As we take a look at actual race results, Lepazic home in second, Mason Hannigan, Zachary Bazanich and Hunter Crum running out your top 5. Chance Crum home in 6 after being up inside the top 2 for most of the event. Justin Brester, Colton Collins, your 7th and 8th place drivers, the final guys on the lead lap, ahead of Ryan Shulkuski and Austin Nye.
Second half of the field being Matt Roberts, Adam Kading finishing 11th and 12th, Kerry Andrews finishing 13th, and Kanan Posey, Robert Rice, and Chase Randall also, along with Kerry Andrews, unable to finish as they finished 14th, 15th, and 16th. Well, we saw how USA handled for these drivers, and now we get to go to a similar track, really, for Richmond next week. As well, we had Iowa last week, and we kind of saw how that handled, and I get to see a little bit of a better preview where that start-finish line actually is a little bit closer off turn 4, so I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a few side-by-side battles coming to the line.
Most certainly a possibility. You're going to be a different track than what we've used in the first 3 weeks, and maybe a bit similar to Iowa, so that might provide a bit of a form book for us heading into Richmond. But we're going to wrap things up here on GSRC. Thank you to CSI Shocks and Pivotal Propane, the organizer and the title sponsor of the series, as well as KT's steering service. Racing Bars, Chalk Sticks, and PitLogic for their support of the series. Thank you to the companies that provide the software and the hardware for all of our broadcasts listed there on your screen, along with Untitled and how you can get a hold of her for some more great music. She, of course, is the provider of our music here on GSRC. Thanks to the team with me today, Gary and Sean. If you want to find out more about us, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com or our social media on Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook and Instagram as well at GSRC_Graham. If you want to support us, make sure you hit subscribe and tune in to all of our events, and you won't miss a moment here on the Red Brand. Other upcoming races on your screen, check them out, mark them down. But from all of us here in the booth, thanks for joining us, and until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.